Hey everyone, my name is Mike Vaughn. I'm a writer for Geek Vibes Nation. And welcome to GVN Interviews. I have a very talented person, Stefan L. who did the music for the recent DC animated film, Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham, which I have to say I've been listening to your score for like all this week,
Oh,
and
wow.
I love it.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
kind of
you.
the perfect music to like when I'm like writing and stuff. So
Oh, well, thank you very much.
yeah. So I'm guessing prior to this you were a big Batman fan.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a Batman fan, especially the music. I mean, Danny Elfman, Shirley Walker, Elliot Goldenthal, Hans Zimmer, James Newton Howard, like incredible composers that have contributed to this franchise. So I was just really excited to receive the invitation to put my little fingerprint on it, you know?
Nice. Yeah, well I think you did a terrific job. Like I said, I've been
Thank you.
really enjoying it. So confession, I haven't really talked to a lot of composers, so I'm always like really curious like what the process is. But before that, how did you get involved with this project?
It's actually an interesting story. So during the pandemic, like I think it was around 2021, there was an app called Clubhouse that
Hmm.
became pretty popular, and a lot of people in the industry were basically on there because everyone was bored. Everything was closed. And actually, I think it was 2020, to be honest, but everything was closed for the most part. So everyone was kind of networking and on that app, that's where I made a lot of connections with different directors and producers, one of which being Sam Liu, um, which was incredible. And he ended up messaging me really late at night, basically asked me to jump on a call and then offered me the job. And I was losing it. But it's kind of like a, non-traditional way of getting a scoring gig. And I think Clubhouse was great for that because it kind of takes away the gatekeepers, so you can communicate with people, one on one and make those connections. So I definitely think it was because of Clubhouse that we even got the intro with WB Animation and Warner Brothers, in regards to them meeting me. So
Nice.
yeah.
Now, when you first got into this project, of course, the source material and it's very Lovecraftian. So I'm kind of
Mhm.
curious, like, was there any before you even kind of started writing the score, was there any guidelines that you were giving or like notes you were given?
Yeah, there were every time we start a project, usually the director would send over some type of, temp musical ideas of like what they're feeling as far as the tone of the score. Sam was pretty open and he kind of wanted me to do my thing, which is not, customary. So what I did was just compiled a playlist of some of, obviously the trope type of Batman music, but also things in the horror thriller genre, classical music that I felt really matched the tone since this film was a period piece, 1920s. I felt like the sound of the score needed to have that old school Hollywood sound, with a mashup of that new, fresh, hybrid type of sound that you hear from Hans and James Newton Howard, etc. So I think I was very influenced by Danny Elfman, obviously. And the funny part about that is while I was actually preparing for everything to write the score for this, I was actually on tour with Danny,
Oh wow.
playing in his orchestra for his Coachella concerts and also at the Hollywood Bowl. So I was kind of just surrounded by that quirky Elfman sound that really, once it was time to go on this, I was like, let's do it. So I guess, to answer it shortly, I was heavily influenced by Elfman, Shirley Walker, and Elliot Goldenthal, as well as Hans and James Newton Howard. But I did really want to make sure I didn't use any material from any other score. So all of the themes and everything are very much original to this film. And I really wanted to make sure that that was going to happen because I felt it was such a unique film on its own that it needed its own sound, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Especially when you're talking about using the period of the film as inspiration. Um, did you like go back and like listen to maybe some like old like 20s like compositions and stuff as
oh
well?
yeah, I was listening to ragtime and all different types of stuff. Jazz at the time. Um, Corn Gold and Bernard Herrmann, that old school, old Hollywood type of sound. So yeah, I think it's funny because the playlist that I have, it's from like the 1800s to today, so
That's great.
lots of cool inspiration there to just kind of gather that sound for Gotham and all of the characters, as you know, that are presented in the film. There's just a lot going on. So part of the challenge was, how much music do we need? And as you can tell, the film was scored from front to back, so there's a lot of
Yeah.
music. I think it
Hmm.
clocked in around almost 90 minutes of score. And with the timeline that we had, we didn't really have time to record the score. So everything that you heard was performed and programmed by me.
Wow.
Using my sample libraries and I think and also my assistants came on board to help me out with some of it too, just because it's such a massive amount of work. So yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. So in the process, are you given like a rough cut of the film and then kind of score, write your score over that, or how does that work?
Yeah, so normally in animation, it's kind of different than live action. Animation takes so long to actually produce. So when we started on this film, we actually started on the scene where Oliver's drunk at the piano. That was the first cue that I wrote, the arrangement on the piano for that. And then after that, we had a few months break before the actual reels for each act came in, since it was broken up into 3 acts. And so I would receive those 3 acts, spaced out. And from there, Sam and I would sit down, talk about where the music should start and end. And then after that, then we'll receive updated cuts. Sometimes the timing is compressed. I know Sam may have talked with you guys before, saying that about 10 minutes of the movie had to be cut. So when that happens, the music also has to be condensed and revised. So it's just this ongoing process to the end, of just matching the cut, making sure everything hits, making sure we get what Sam wants, what I want, and I think we did a pretty effective job
Yeah,
overall.
yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I really like the score. For fans like myself, will this score be available in any kind of
It's
capacity?
interesting that you mentioned that. So tomorrow, the 14th, I'm going to be 14th of April. That's what month we're in now,
Yeah.
right? I'll be announcing the release date of the score. It actually, well, for this is going to be airing later, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so I guess I can just go ahead and say it. The release date will be April 21st,
Nice.
via Gartner Recording. So we spent several weeks making sure that we gathered the best compilation. Since it's 90 minutes of music, it would be a lot to release in full. So I chose the cues that I feel really represent the film on its own. And it clocks in just a little under 60 minutes of music. So I think everyone will enjoy that. But there'll be some shout outs and stuff on my socials, kind of leading up to the score release. But I'm very excited about it. And a funny thing about the score release, while I was working on mastering the soundtrack, I was actually also recording on the new Transformers movie at Fox Studios. So in between recording and in the breaks, I'm like contacting, the mixer to give notes. And so it was like an insane week overall, but it was such an awesome experience, and I just can't wait for people to be able to actually hear it and listen to it on its own as well.
Yeah, that's great. And before we're done, I'll get you to mention your socials, and I'll put all that information in the description below where you all can
Awesome.
check that out. And um I'll just say it already. Grab a copy of it while you can, because it really is fantastic. Like, you did
Oh, thank
such
you.
an amazing job.
Thank you. And before I go, I do want to mention there's some thank yous to, you know, my assistants, Krista Duggan and Jamie Jimin Park, two USC graduate students in the scoring program, who are, you know, recent grads, but fantastic composers, but really helped me out tremendously in this process. And also Nimrod Sound and their mixing, and Alvin Wee score mixer, Stephen Marsh at Marsh Mastering, and of course Kevin Kurtz at Gardner Recordings. It takes a massive team to produce things like this, and it would go, you know, remiss if I were not to mention them
Yeah,
for
no,
their
that's
excellent
great.
work. You know,
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're right. It does take it, like for anything, it takes a team to really, bring all this greatness together.
of course.
But yeah, that's so cool. Now, before we wrap, is there any other like projects that you can mention that you have coming up?
Well, I can't say what it is, but I'm currently scoring a network TV series
Hmm,
that should be releasing at the end of the year, I think. But also, I'm working on a concert commission for the National Orchestra Institute that'll be premiering in a few months. So quite busy, but
nice.
excited about all of it. And there's some other things on the horizon too. So just, you know, stick close to my socials and I'll keep everyone posted.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much. This was so cool to talk to you. Again, the score is amazing. I will, like I said, link everything in the description where you can check all that stuff out. So, what's your socials where people can find you?
Sure, my socials on TikTok, IG, and Twitter are it's actually at Viola Nation, and that's spelled VIOLANATION. And that's pretty much everywhere. So if you look up Viola Nation or Stefan L. Smith, you'll find me somewhere
Nice.
for more information.
All right, that's great. Well, again, thank you so much. The score is amazing, and like I said, y'all should pick up your copy of it. It's great, and thank you again.
Thank you.